Stadium Sportsbook here at the beautiful Palazzo Resort and Casino, part of the Palazzo and Venetian properties here in Las Vegas. Welcome back to Get Sharp, everybody. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh, joined again by my man Chuck Esposito.
Joe, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining us once again. We're going to switch it up a little bit with Chuck today. He's wearing a tie, which means we are going to be talking college football today. But before we get to that, we're in yet another one of the venues here at Lagasse Stadium. Chuck, where are we sitting today?
We're one of the balcony areas that overlooks the main dining area and the big screens behind us. It's again a phenomenal area. There's so many different seating and viewing areas in here, Joe. It's unmatched anywhere in the industry.
We're having a good time like we are as always. No pool this week, ladies and gentlemen. No pool. We're going to take it easy, but we're going to open in the SEC, 7 p.m. Eastern. 4-2 Florida travels for a big date with number 24 ranked 4-2 Auburn. Both teams coming off loss. Florida has lost back-to-back games in blowout fashion. They lose at home to Alabama. They lose on the road last week to LSU. This week we got an Auburn team that's coming off a 38-14 loss to Arkansas. And for the most part, they always seem to hang tight. This game opens with Auburn as a favorite. Can you explain part of that to me? Florida as a favorite. Why would Florida be a favorite going on the road?
To be honest, Joe, I'm not sure. I think you look at it, and Florida's popularity in the past years is part of it. But I'm surprised as well. I mean, you look at Auburn at home, under the lights. They play a lot of close games. They're always in the game. You look at Florida, as you alluded to, I mean, 2 blowout losses. They didn't just get beat. They got spanked in those 2 games. True redshirt freshman is starting at quarterback. They may play Driscoll as well, who's a young quarterback. So a lot of question marks there. I think you look at Auburn, and they've got some question marks in the passing game as well. Both these offenses really struggle. I think Auburn at home, though, their defense will be the difference in the game, and I suspect late money or action will come in on Auburn.
Auburn, like we said, they play tough in every single game. Florida, we've seen them in 2 big tests now. They haven't lived up to it. Which way do you see the public leaning in this? Because these are 2 teams that every week we see both of them on national TV. Everyone sees Florida every week. We see Auburn every week as well. Who is the public going to be supporting?
Well, they're both very popular. I mean, they're 2 of those teams that we talk about in every sport. There's a half dozen or a dozen teams that garner the public's interest week in and week out. These 2 have been the case the last 3 or 4 years in college football. Again, I think late action here is going to come on the home team. I just think they're too strong defensively. Both teams have question marks on the offensive side of the ball, but I like the home team in this spot.
It's going to be tough for the Gators to go in there and get this win, don't you think?
It is, but I think the reason you're seeing them a very small favorite is, are they going to lose 3 in a row? You know, losing 2 in a row in blowout fashion like that, they have to right the ship at some point. I think the winner of this game is the difference between a team winning 6 games or 8 games this year. So I think it's a huge game to both schools, and maybe that's the reason early on you're seeing some Florida action is, are they really going to lose 3 games in a row to marquee schools in that kind of fashion? So, but I still personally think you'll see some late money come in on the Tigers.
7 p.m. Eastern as well. We're moving to the ACC as the undefeated 6-0, 8th-ranked Clemson Tigers travel to Maryland to take on the 2-3 Terrapins. This is a great Clemson team. A lot of people thought something could be brewing with them this year. So far, they're proving in 6 straight wins, coming off a 36-14 win over a mediocre at best Boston College team. But again, you got to win them as they come. Maryland coming off a game they hung tight against Georgia Tech, 21-16. What do you see here? There's a bit of an injury situation with Clemson at quarterback. When you look at this game, should the Tigers roll?
I think they will. I mean, it's the first time they've been 6-0 since 2000. I'm a little surprised. I was a little bit of a non-believer heading into the season. Would they be this good?
Especially with the Virginia Tech road game.
Very true. I mean, they had that big road test, and I was just going to say that they came away looking really impressive. So I think that's a big part of it. I know Boyd's a little bit banged up. You know the Terps are going to go after him. I just think they're too strong on the offensive side of the ball. Again, I think you're going to see Clemson action here. They look to go 7-0, but it's a tough test against the Terps, and a lot depends on Boyd's health moving forward.
Maryland puts up a nice performance last week against a high-powered Georgia Tech offense. But like you said, and this is what I like that you alluded to, Clemson at 6-0, you don't need to be motivated to get up. You're up. You're ready. You're an 8th-ranked team for the first time in how long? You've got a shot at something special this year.
I think there's still a lot of non-believers, though.
Yeah,
I mean, even
absolutely.
after winning the game at Virginia Tech, that a lot of people are still looking at Clemson and saying, are they really that good? But I think as the season progresses, a couple of big more road victories, and I think people will believe that this team is as talented as they appear to be early on.
Georgia Tech's coming up in a few weeks. A couple national spotlight games would help this team, obviously, in the public's eye. Talk about the road factor a little bit. In the pros, these teams know what it's like to go on the road. In college, you're 6-0, you're going to Maryland. Maryland's not that tough of a school, but at the same time, that's a road game. How does that factor in?
It's a road game, and it's somewhat of an early season bowl game for Maryland. I mean, they're going to be rocking there. If they can come away with a victory against the 8th ranked team in the country, that is a huge win. You will see the student body raid the field if the Terps are victorious in this game. So, I think it's a huge game for Maryland at home. And of course, they look to play the spoiler, look for the upset special. But again, Clemson's a very good team. I'm a little surprised, but I think you'll see the action continue on Clemson throughout the week.
Speaking of opportunities to storm the field, at 3:30 p.m., we move to the Big 12, number 6 ranked, undefeated Oklahoma State at 5-0, travels to Texas to take on the 22nd ranked Longhorns, 4-1, coming off a blowout loss in the Red River shootout to Oklahoma. Texas was absolutely exposed in this game. They get rocked 55-17, 3 defensive touchdowns, I believe it was, for the Sooners. That's more points than Texas put up offensively. Oklahoma State continues to roll 70-28 over a bad Kansas team. Okie State's got something special cooking, and they offensively we know they can score. Does this game have shootout written all over it?
It definitely has shootout, and I agree with you. Oklahoma State is something special. Personally, I think they're one of the top teams in the country who can win it all. I really do. I think the late season game against Oklahoma will be the telltale sign if they can win it all or not. I don't think Texas myself is a top 25 team. I really don't. And you look at Mac Brown, he has never lost a game after the Red River rivalry. He's 13-0 after that game. 13-0. But I think this is a spot. They just don't have enough weapons on offense to compete with Oklahoma State. They're just too strong, too fast. In my opinion, again, they're the best team in the country right now. I think they roll here. Texas is going to try to play the role of spoiler, but I think they suffer losses back-to-back weeks.
Is there any chance Oklahoma State comes into this thing and experiences a letdown? You watch the tape of Oklahoma, Texas. You see them get rolled all over the field. Is there a possibility they get a little bit arrogant and maybe walk into a trap here?
I mean, that could happen, but I don't think Texas is that good. I mean, again, I'm surprised that they're ranked in the top 25. I think after this loss, if they do get beat here, they fall out of the top 25. They have question marks at quarterback as well. They can't score. How are you going to keep up with an offense like Oklahoma State? They can't get into a shootout. Although the game has shootout written all over it, you might be looking at 55-28 at the end of the game. It appeared to be a shootout, but it was a shootout one-sided.
Whether or not he's in a tie, ladies and gentlemen, he always brings his A game.
Thanks,
Chuck
Joe.
Esposito from the Venetian and the Palazzo, thank you for joining us. And everyone, thank you for joining us as well. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll see you next week.